Good morning, minions, and welcome to No More Mr. Fat Guy TV episode 4. Now, last weekend I shared a couple of photos on my Facebook page that were just comparing how I looked back in February 2012 to how I look now. Now that prompted a question from Minion Brandy in Ontario, Canada, who basically asked the question, what was the spark, what was the thing that actually caused me to start making that change. Now, at the same time, also this week, there was talk around Facebook about the difference between motivation and willpower, and I actually find that those two topics will probably work together quite well. So if I just first of all explain about the motivation and willpower thing, to my mind, the idea of willpower is actually a bit of a, I don't know, almost a myth. This belief that if you just put your mind to something enough that you can overcome it. And people talk about willpower in terms of diet, they talk about it in terms of smoking, they talk about it in terms of getting fit, they talk about it in terms of just getting on with work and overcoming procrastination. I've suffered pretty much all of those things, and at the end of the day, no matter how much effort you put, no matter how much willpower you put in, it doesn't fix anything, because willpower isn't the thing, it has no power. The real power comes from having a genuine motivation inside. When I say that, I mean it basically means that you really, really want it. You get to a point where you really, really want something badly enough that you will overcome anything that gets in the way. You will find the strength, and you will find the time, and you will find the resources to do whatever it is that you need this willpower for. So that's my take on motivation versus willpower. Now, if you take most kind of transformation stories, or rags to riches stories, or fat to thin stories, and unhealthy to healthy stories, they generally follow, or the ones that you read about generally seem to follow a bit of a pattern. They have an absolute rock bottom, a catastrophic event, maybe a life-threatening event. Maybe they end up close to death. They end up with a brush with death. They end up, they may have lost friends, family, and then this massive traumatic experience in their life has this huge impact, and it really sort of brings about drastic changes in their life. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I read, certainly over the years, and you sort of read that, and ironically perhaps you sort of think, they were lucky. They were lucky to have such a, these fantastic stories, that they were not lucky, but just the fact that something huge like that happened in their life gave them the opportunity to turn it around. And you kind of think, at the back of your mind and deep down, it's all right for them, but I'm just me, and I've just got an ordinary life. Well, guess what? I'm exactly the same as the vast majority of people out there. There was no traumatic experience, there was no life-changing event. The actual life-changing event was doing all this. That has been a life-changing experience. But getting to that point was really just a case of 30 years of little things, 30 years of just little by little things building up, not quite achieving here and not quite getting to where I wanted there, not quite having a career work out in the way that I wanted, slowly having, seeing the weight build up and not really worrying about it, but sort of like deep inside, it was building up. So it was just like, I don't know, it was just like my life was like this artery that was slowly clogging up, but it was just little by little. There was nothing massive, there was nothing monumental. And in fact, even when I came to the realisation that I needed to change it, it wasn't a bolt of lightning, it wasn't some event. It was literally some personal development work that I've been doing over the course of about, at that point, probably about 9 months, that just started to bring some of those issues over 30 years to the surface. And in the same way that they built up, little by little, it started to sink in my head that I wasn't happy. It started to sink in my head that, I did catch myself glancing, every now and again, glancing in a window or glancing in a mirror and thinking, who's that fat guy? Because mentally, like, my own self-image was quite positive. I'm 6'6" tall. In my head, I could carry the excess weight. I didn't really sort of, in my head, I didn't have this image that I was this fat person sort of like wandering around, and I didn't really think, I kind of still thought I was young enough to overcome any health issues through smoking and drinking and bad eating further down the track. But reality was, at the time I was 42, and I really, in my mind, when I did catch sight of myself, I didn't like what I saw. And when I did see photographs, it was obvious that the beer gut had developed a little bit more than just being a little bit of an overhang and something that could be dealt with easily. So essentially it built up over 30 years, and then over the course of about 9 months, slowly those issues got released into my conscious thought, to the point where I just one day, there was enough momentum there that provided the motivation. And I've tried willpower over the years. Willpower has never worked, but once I had that volume of stuff providing that genuine motivation and that real desire deep within, and that real a sense of unhappiness, a sense of sadness, but a sense of wanting to achieve so much more. Once that was there, once I found that, once I'd actually, I guess in a way I did hit a kind of bottom, for myself, but I had to get down there. And once I got down there, it really provided everything. It provided that motivation. It provided the power to drive me forward. It provided the willingness for me to say, okay, I'll do something about this, and it really went from there. And then once the whole process started, that kept driving me forward, and then slowly habits took over, and then slowly from there, once habits were formed, then enjoyment started to creep in. Because I hated running. I absolutely hated running. And then over the course of training to do that ridiculous idea of running a marathon, I actually love running. I became a running obsessed person, and now I look forward to hitting the streets at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and going for a long run. So that's the basic process, and I think that will apply for the vast majority of people. I don't think that the classic story needs to apply to you. You don't have to have that massive change in your life. You just need to find enough sadness. You just need to find enough unhappiness, in a way. And it's not easy. It's not something that you'll find easy mentally or emotionally. It may bring issues to the fore. You may find yourself learning things about your life, learning about yourself that you really don't like. However, you work through those, and then on the other side, once you actually get to the point where where I've got to now, it's all worthwhile, and some of that pain and discomfort is worth it. It's relieved. It goes. It disappears. You forgive yourself. You forget, and basically you open yourself up and find a new life for yourself, and a new you, and a new perspective, and a new way of living, and it's completely awesome and totally worthwhile. So hopefully that'll help somebody somewhere watching this to understand that they don't need to be anything other than an ordinary everyday person. If they really want to make those changes, if there's something they're unhappy with in their life, if they want to give up smoking, if they want to get fit, they want to get healthy, they want to start eating better, they can. And absolutely you can start right now. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's probably the longest one that we've had so far, but hopefully it'll be a 10-minute watch that changes somebody's life. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.